Hi there. Today we are going to talk about a machine that did something truly dangerous in the early 19th century. It worked too well. This is the Goldsworthy Gurney Steam Carriage of 1825, a vehicle that arrived so early, so confident, and so disruptive that it terrified horse owners, road trustees, and lawmakers long before it impressed engineers. If modern trucks had a prehistoric ancestor that already knew how to scare society, this would be it. To understand the Gurney Steam Carriage, you must forget cars, forget trucks, and even forget engines as we know them. In the 1820s, most transport relied on muscle power, animal power, or gravity. Roads were narrow, fragile, and expensive to maintain. Anything heavier than a horse-drawn coach was considered a threat. Into this world stepped Goldsworthy Gurney, a surgeon, scientist, and inventor who believed steam power should not be locked to rails. He wanted steam on roads, among people, moving freely. The Gurney Steam Carriage was not a toy experiment. It was a full-size road vehicle designed to carry passengers and cargo at a time when most people still believed steam was only suitable for stationary engines or locomotives. Structurally, it looked like a reinforced carriage with large spoked wheels, a long chassis, and a raised seating area. But everything beneath that familiar shape was revolutionary. The heart of the machine was a steam engine fueled by coal or coke. Instead of a massive boiler like early locomotives, Gurney used a relatively compact high-pressure boiler, designed to produce steam efficiently while keeping overall mass manageable. Exact cylinder displacement figures were not standardized at the time and were rarely recorded in modern terms, but the engine produced sufficient power to move the carriage at speeds of up to 24 kilometers per hour, which equals approximately 15 miles per hour. In the 1820s, this was shocking. This was faster than many horses could maintain for long distances. Torque as a measured value was not documented in the era, but steam engines are inherently high-torque machines. Maximum pulling force was available from zero speed, which meant the Gurney Steam Carriage could start moving without clutch slipping, without gear changes, and without drama. This characteristic alone placed it centuries ahead in concept, even if the materials was still catching up. The vehicle used a mechanical transmission system driven directly from the steam engine, delivering power to the rear wheels. Steering was handled by the front axle, controlled through a tiller or steering wheel depending on configuration. Braking was purely mechanical, relying on friction systems acting on the wheels. There were no redundancies, no safety backups, and absolutely no forgiveness for mistakes. Operating this vehicle required skill, attention, and courage. Dimensionally, the Gurney Steam Carriage was large, but not monstrous. Overall length was approximately 5.5 meters, which is about 18.0 feet. Width was close to 2.0 meters, or 6.6 feet. Height varied by version, but often exceeded 3.0 meters, roughly 9.8 feet due to seating position and boiler placement. Weight estimates vary, but the carriage likely exceeded 2,000 kilograms, or about 4,400 pounds, depending on fuel and water load. And water was everything. Steam vehicles are only as good as their water supply. The Gurney carriage required frequent stops to replenish water, especially under sustained operation. This was one of its greatest limitations. Unlike horses which could drink from streams, the carriage needed clean water and time to refill. This logistical challenge would haunt steam road vehicles for decades. Despite these limitations, Gurney demonstrated the carriage extensively. Public trials showed it could climb hills without assistance, maintain steady speeds, and operate reliably over long distances. One famous journey covered more than 140 kilometers, or approximately 87 miles, proving that steam road transport was not just possible, but practical. And this is where things went wrong. The problem was not engineering. The problem was society. Road trustees who collected tolls based on horse-drawn traffic saw steam vehicles as a threat. Heavy tolls were imposed specifically on steam carriages, sometimes dozens of times higher than those for horse coaches. These tolls were not about road damage, they were about protectionism. At the same time, horse owners feared steam vehicles would frighten animals, damage livelihoods, and disrupt established transport systems. Newspapers amplified these fears. Accidents, even minor ones, were exaggerated. Steam became a villain, not because it failed, but because it succeeded too early. Financially, this pressure was devastating. Gurney invested heavily in development and demonstrations, but punitive tolls made commercial operation impossible. Even though parliamentary investigations later concluded that steam carriages did not damage roads more than horse traffic, the damage was already done. The momentum was lost. Technically, the Gurney Steam Carriage still had weaknesses. Boiler maintenance was demanding. Startup time was long compared to simply hitching horses. Skilled operators were required. Heat management was constant. And while torque was excellent, efficiency was poor by modern standards. But none of these issues were fatal. They were solvable problems given time. What makes the Gurney Steam Carriage so fascinating is not just what it was, but what it could have become. Had steam road vehicles been allowed to evolve naturally, the history of transportation might look very different. Railways might still have dominated long distances, but steam trucks and buses could have shaped cities decades earlier. In many ways, the Gurney Steam Carriage represents a lost timeline, a future where road transport matured earlier, where engineering advanced faster, and where the dominance of animal power ended sooner. Instead, steam road vehicles were pushed aside, and internal combustion engines would later restart the entire process from a different direction. From a modern perspective, the Gurney Steam Carriage feels fragile, complex, and impractical, but judged by the standards of its time, it was astonishingly advanced. It moved without animals, it carried people, it climbed hills, it ran on human ingenuity and heat. Standing in front of a reconstruction today, it is hard not to feel respect. This was not a curiosity, it was a challenge to the world order, and the world responded by shutting the door. If you enjoy stories about machines that arrived too early, machines that challenged society as much as technology, make sure to subscribe. There are many forgotten pioneers like this one waiting to be rediscovered.